What's up, YouTube? This is the Brooklyn Bounce channel. I'm here with Chapter 9 of Anthony's Boy, The Prince of Bath Avenue. The true story of former Bonanno family hitman Joey Calco. Written by Richard Stanley Kagan. I'm gonna have to break this one up into 3 chapters. I'll get it all out for you guys tonight, but it's gonna be three separate videos because this is a really long chapter. So I will get every video out tonight for you, but it's like I said, it's going to be 3 of them. So let's start with part 1. Chapter 9, 17th Park. One day on our home turf, me and my friends are playing some handball in 17th Park. It was a beautiful summer day. The sun was shining, the grass was green, the birds were singing, the girls were smiling, and we were all laughing and having a good time. The time of our lives. This park has a lot of history. It is the park near where the Son of Sam, aka the 44 caliber killer with David Richard Berkowitz, killed his last victim in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn on July 31st, 1977 at or about 2:35 a.m. under a streetlight. I was about 9 years old then. The neighborhood went into a panic. Everybody was afraid to go out of their homes, afraid that they would be the next victim to get shot to death by the Son of Sam. Even the mob was on full alert for the guy who would do such a thing and leave a girl dead and a man shot in the face and losing an eye. This area was known as Lover's Lane. All of the young people in the neighborhood would park their cars there and make out under the moonlight and stars. John Travolta made this area famous in the movie Saturday Night Fever. From the park you can see the Verrazano Bridge where Travolta played a scene in the movie. He also went down 86th Street and ate pizza at a pizzeria that I worked at when I was a kid. It's called Lenny's Pizzeria. And you could see this place at the beginning of the movie. Me and my brother Charlie were at this pizzeria when the movie was being filmed. There is a lot of history in this neighborhood. It is also the place where Steven Seagal filmed his movie on 86th Street. I remember that actually. I was there when he shot that scene. I'm sorry, guys. When Steven Seagal made that movie Out for Justice, and Bobby Lupo got shot right across the street from West End Bakery. I was right on the other side of the street when they were filming that. Sorry, guys. It was filmed. It was also the place where Steven Seagal filmed his movie on 86th Street, and the cafe where my father used to hang out. Many more movies were made in Bensonhurst also. I wonder why they needed to make so many movies here. Maybe there was just something about the air. Who knows? Who cares? I have more important things to think about. Things like making a living and staying alive to keep a living. To keep on living, sorry. One day I came across a guy known as Mike DiGiorgio. I called him Mike Hamster. He moved into Bath Avenue around 1987 and used to hang out with his friends, which included Joey Gross. Mike knew some guys from the Gambino crime family. He also would be around the Chicos of Bath Avenue. Bobby DeChico was the one he looked up to. My father My father and the DeChicos have some history. Used to rent out one. My father used to rent out one of his houses to the DeChicos back in the day. I remember one day, George DeChico and my father were arguing about rent right there in the driveway on Bay 14th Street. I was a young boy, and I remember that Georgie was getting very aggressive with my father, telling him that he was not going to pay rent. My father and him started to fight, and my father and him started to fight, and my mother was fighting with his wife, and my aunt was fighting with his sister, right there in the driveway. It was a riot, and people came down from all over to watch and see who was going down to court, and who would be the world champion fighter family of Bay 14th Street. I'm just standing there and thinking, wow. Georgie was telling me. I'm sorry. I was just sitting there thinking, wow. Georgie was telling me my father. It was telling my father that he should come to Bath Avenue and fight him, and he would kick his ass. My father told him to kiss his ass. My father was beating him up and kicking his ass. From day one, the DeChicos didn't like my family and would play a big part in my life growing up in the mob. The DeChicos would never forget the incident that happened with my father, and neither would I. So now Mike Hamster was hanging out with Bobby D. DeChico and is under the protection of the Gambino family. I'm with Anthony Sparrow, with the Bonanno family in the same neighborhood. Anthony Sparrow and George DeChico were friends, so me and Mike Hamster would have to play like good boys. Yeah, right. Since Mike Hamster moved into this neighborhood, it's been nothing would ever be the same again. This guy would try to bully all of my friends and run crap all through the neighborhood. Now he knows very well that I'm not going to let that happen. Mikey starts dating one of the girls in my neighborhood. The girl is the sister-in-law of John Dunn, the same John Dunn who pulled the gun and stuck it in my face a few years back when I had a problem with his pot dealing in the neighborhood. When he stole my corner, now the plot thickens. John Dunn's father is now a capo regime, a captain in the Colombo family. John Dunn thinks he's untouchable, like a superhero who can't be killed. Whatever, the odds are against him. He walks around like a small god. He doesn't know how small gods can be killed just as easy as, or even easy as, big gods can be killed. These guys are getting more and more headstrong every day, thinking that they own and run the neighborhood because they are with the Gambino family and John Dunn's father-in-law is with the Colombo family. But they don't know one thing, that I am Joey, Crazy Joe Calco, and I don't give a flying F whose guys. I don't give a flying F who these guys are with, and I don't have to be around any people to be a tough guy. They're going around bullying all of my friends and beating them up one by one. I can't take this anymore. They never got a chance to beat me up because I'm too fast, and I will never give them the chance to catch me off guard. I'm always one step ahead of them. I know that happens. I know what happens when you don't keep your guard up. You get knocked out and you get chopped up. And they use you for fish bait in the waters of life. It's 1987 and the neighborhood is growing with the times. Beepers calling for drugs, computers, video games are being played on TV, music videos on MTV. I'm working construction with my father and my brother Charlie. We're making good money. At night I got my drug dealing and I make some extra money on the side. Charlie's hanging out at 17th Avenue and 86th Street at a 24-hour newsstand and candy store. All my brother's friends are older than I am. Me and my friends hung out on Bath Avenue. We are two different crews. My brother and his friends like to smoke angel dust. This is a very dangerous and potent drug that screws up people and kills them. Like my brother is one of them who gets all screwed up. He couldn't help himself. My brother's friend, Louis Tuzios, had a brother named Nicky who would hang out with Charlie and smoke dust. Louis hung out with me and my guys on 18th Avenue. One day Nicky and my brother robbed a car and went for a joyride in the neighborhood. They kept this car for a while. One night my brother and his friends go out for a joyride, smoking dust, drinking anything with alcohol in it. They get careless, get into an accident with another car, and they kill the guy in the car. They kill the guy who was driving. When the cops come, my brother and his friends are gone. The cops do their investigation and find Nicky Tuzlo's fingerprints on the car, and Nicky was not with them that night. Now the police are looking for Nicky for murder. They don't know anything about my brother until they arrest Nicky. When they interrogate Nicky, he blames it all on my brother Charlie. The district attorney contacts my brother and asks to speak with him down at the district attorney's office. My brother goes down to the DA and listens to a tape conversation of Nicky Tuzio blaming it on my brother. My brother denies it and says it was Nicky who did it, not him. Nicky goes to prison for 8 years, and my brother goes scot-free. They say that justice is blind, and now I know she sure is. Nicky's brother Louis was an up-and-coming young gangster in the neighborhood, and he didn't like what my brother Charlie did to Nicky. One day, Louis and his friend went and beat Charlie up and put him in the hospital. Then my father gets involved, and they have a sit-down with Louis Tuzio, and they resolve the matter with Charlie and Nicky. My father pays Louis $7,000 to leave my brother alone. Louis agrees to the deal. Louis wanted the money to pay for his brother's lawyer, who succeeded in losing the case and getting an innocent kid sent to prison for something he didn't even do. But the lawyer took the money anyway for losing the case and screwing everything up. And that was that. Everybody was happy for now, that is. Charlie got real bad. He started smoking crack cocaine and was hooked bad. He was robbing everything in sight from everybody in his neighborhood to support his drug habit. Many people were complaining to me, especially the mob, that he was robbing all the drug dealers. Charlie wasn't even at home anymore. He was living in the street like a homeless person. He was sleeping in the basement of my relative's house on Bay 14th Street. My relatives owned an apartment building, and my brother would sleep in the boiler room in the basement. This was very disturbing to see my brother like this. Me and him were very close, like brothers should be. One time after Nicholas Tuzio got out of prison, he and my brother Louis, who were both crackheads, did a drive-by shooting to kill my hold on. Sorry guys, let me do this over again. One time after Nicky Tuzio got out of prison, he and his brother-in-law, who were both crackheads, did a drive-by shooting to kill my brother. My little cousin, 13-year-old little Charlie, was there, and he almost got hit with a bullet. These guys wouldn't stop until my brother was dead. My brother is now all messed up, living in the streets, and the two brothers Tuzio are trying to kill him. One night, Louis Tuzio and his friends sneak up on my brother in the basement, grab him and strangle him and hang him from a pipe on a rafter in the open ceiling, and stick a hypodermic needle into his arm to make it look like he committed suicide. The cops were called to the scene, and the whole neighborhood was out in front of the building when they found out it was Charlie. My brother is dead, and I'm there watching my father cut the rope down to free Charlie. The cops told my father not to touch the body, but my father didn't care what they wanted. He said that it was his son, so he cut the rope and brought poor dead Charlie down to the ground to rest a little more peacefully than he had ever been. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry, let me read this again. He said it was his son, and so, I'm sorry guys, my throat's starting to hurt, so I get a little bit sloppy. Let me just finish this. He said that he was his son, and so he cut the rope, brought poor dead Charlie down to the ground to rest in a little more peace than he had ever had in his whole life, period. Everyone knew my brother, and a lot of people showed up to his funeral out of respect for my family. The cops called it a suicide, but I know my brother would not kill himself that way. He would smoke himself to death, maybe, but not hang himself from a rope with a needle in his arm. Author's note: Josephine told me this on the telephone on Sunday, June 24th, 2012, during a long mid-afternoon conversation. She said that she had known it was murder from the beginning because people who hang themselves almost always kick their legs and feet around wildly while they struggle against a death they had changed their mind about. A chair too close had told a different story about the murder to her brother of her brother. In my mind, Josephine may have had a nearer insight into Charlie Calco's death than the medical examiner did. Now, she said, maybe the church will allow a mass of Christian burial for my older brother Charlie, whom I had loved very much, and who I know had never committed suicide. It's never too late for prayers. She whimpered through tears, which I could hear her almost see and feel through. I could hear her almost see and feel through the telephone lines because they were so intense. Never too late for prayers for my big brother Charlie, she said over and over again. I thought silently that it's never too late for tears either. Prayers and tears, they are so often seen together, hand in hand, seeking answers and salvation from understanding its merciful God. Sometimes God answers prayers, sometimes. Okay. I'm going to stop. I will come back probably in a couple hours. Let me just rest my throat a little bit. See, when my throat starts to hurt, I start getting sloppy, and that's when I start messing up sentences. And I try to keep that to a minimum for you guys, so you can get a better understanding of the book. It looks like I'm right at the halfway point, maybe a couple of pages off from being dead center in the middle of the book. So it's about right at the halfway point. There's 20 chapters total, and this is chapter 9, and it looks like I'm right at the middle of the book. Let me see how many pages are left for this. 85. Yeah, it's probably going to be. I might be able to get it into one more video. If not, it'll be 2 videos. It'll be another video of like 20 minutes, and then another video of 5 minutes after that. But anyway, guys, thank you for listening. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Please share my videos on social media. Help me grow my channel. Please hit the like button so it can get distributed to more people. And please have a safe Sunday. And I will be back later with the rest of this chapter. Thank you again for listening. Bye.